All good. Good to see everybody. Thanks for, again, the coverage you have and continue to do, not only on our team, but the stories of our student athletes. I certainly appreciate that. Excited to be 2-0. Excited the progress that our team has made from when we started to where we are today, and we also know how good we can continue to improve, and the pursuit of trying to be our best. We've got a long ways to go, but our guys are working extremely hard, doing a great job on the things that we're asking them to do. From week 1 to week 2, I think we made progress in the areas that we came up short week 1 with. There's always going to be areas that you want to continue to get better at, and that never changes throughout the course of the season. When you're trying to do everything you can to go play winning football and then execute and do it at a high level. So the performance on Saturday, number one, so thankful for the students that we had there. Over 7,000 tickets were claimed, which was huge. You could feel them in the arena. And then I think it was a really good start for Vegas on the support that we had, and we'll only build from there. We don't know exact number. We had over 90 players get reps on Saturday, which was huge. I think the development of your program, that'll help us down the stretch here, and not just fourth quarter work. We started subbing in the first quarter and really heavy into the second quarter, so they got meaningful reps, which was great. Good to see those guys have some reward for all the work that they put in. And then we were able to turn the page really quickly to get on our next opponent, we know very well, and they've made some additions to their team, and certainly we have as well. But they've got a really good team. They've got good coaches. We understand that. It'll be an exciting atmosphere in Kansas City on Friday night. We know it's a short week, so for us in our world, it's Tuesday, and we had good meetings this morning. We'll practice tonight, and it'll fit us well for what we need game plan wise. It'll fit our kids well. On the structure of the week, we did this calendar last year for our Friday night game against Wyoming, and I thought it fit us what we needed at that time, and same thing here. So with that, I'd open any questions.
Coach, the defensive coordinator at Kansas, Brian Borland, likes to show pressure and then back out. Your quarterback's Luka. Coach, how will he identify that, and how do you attack it when they start to do that, bail back in the zone?
Yeah, I think every defense, their structure, when the ball is snapped, what does it look like? You've got to be able to get enough of the identification through the week of practice on where your read still is going to go. They do a nice job. They've got good players. They've got good coaches. We understand that. We've got to still, the playmakers around our quarterback have got to make plays. We've got to be able to deliver the ball, and again, it'll start up front. Can we run the ball, and can we protect the quarterback? If we do those things, then offensively we've got a chance to get into a rhythm. I think if I told you exactly what we're going to do, that wouldn't be fair. Kansas is probably taking notes.
What do you like about the Friday game, and maybe what don't you like about the Friday game? Obviously, maybe the short week to prepare, but beyond that, what do you like and don't like?
I think number one for us, the exposure on ESPN. National game. It would be great for our brand, great for our kids. Traditionalist in me, I think Friday night should be reserved for high school football, and I was a high school coach. We're a high school recruiting program, so part of that, you talk out of both sides of your mouth. I love the exposure for our team on Friday night. I also don't want to take away from high school football. So there's give and take.
Coach, you can't compare the opponents necessarily week to week from last week to this week, but what are going to be one or two of the main lessons that you took from that Utah Tech game that you're going to try to apply on Friday?
Well, I think just as a team on, some of the good things. Offensively, we started fast. We needed to. We wanted to. That was one of our keys going into the game, to get a good start fast. I thought we were better in some areas of special teams. And then the execution on third down defense was really good. We're over 90%, which was great. So we'll use those as we continue to grow. There's things that we didn't do as well that the 2-minute drive right before half. Luckily, we got in that position and wanted to get some work on it offensively, and we didn't execute. So what are the reasons why that didn't work out? And work on those things. Defensively, we had a coverage bust early on. Fundamental day one stuff that you can't, you make a mistake on the back end, we all know it's going to be a touchdown. So, and we did, and it was resulted in a touchdown. So the room for error there is zero. But they shored it up really good. They understood the mistake, didn't make it again, and we'll learn from those lessons.
You brought in some guys in the offseason on defense who have made an impact already. When you go back and look at that bowl game last year and the big plays you allowed on defense, how much was that game? How much did that directly influence the kind of what you wanted to do in the offseason to reshape your defense going into this year?
Yeah, I think not just that game, but you're always trying to find ways to improve your roster, and we knew there would be opportunity to, because of our numbers, to be able to get better in those spots. So we were direct with that. Defensively, if you can stop the run and then eliminate explosive plays, you got a chance of being a pretty good defense. And we understood last year we were not good throughout the course of the game in allowing or not giving up explosive plays. That's not all on the secondary. That's on the rush. That's on a number of things. So we knew we needed to get better on the back end, and that's one of the reasons. Just like for this next year's recruiting class, you're trying to build to the foundation of your program and then address needs that can come in and help you right away. Every year is going to be a little bit different on what that recruiting class looks like. For us this year, we knew we needed to get a little bit longer. We needed to get more experience on the back end.
You've been working on changing the culture of this program from the day you stepped on this campus. As you're into year 2, can you pinpoint exactly where you want it to be and what things you are working on daily to make sure that the culture of success is long-term and not short-term?
Yeah, that pursuit never, you don't go a day without working on that. That's interpersonal relationships, that's everybody that touches your team being aligned in the vision on what it takes. That's a relentless path of you've got to be dialed into that area every single day. I don't think you can ever just brush your hands and say, well, we've arrived, our culture is set for. That's never ever the case. You've got to work on it. Excuse me. You've got to work on it every single day, and it's about how you recruit. It's about everybody that's part of the organization. It's about the continual building in the weight room, the off-season habits, the in-season habits of preparation, how you practice, the food you serve in the dining hall, the way you meet, the structure, the tempo from meetings to meetings, the organization of the practice plan. That will never change, and I think we're not where we want to be yet in terms of winning a championship. That's the expectation and the standard of this program, and that's never ever going to change.
Coach, did any players stand out of those 90 players that got reps that maybe could make a jump up, do you feel? And then also, I like that you recognize the scout team members every week, your top players there. Can you talk about their contribution?
Yeah, I think we've been holding number 39, JT Odom. I think we've been holding him back. Had 3 solo tackles. I had a long conversation with the coordinator on Sunday. Somebody's holding him back, obviously. I think a number of guys stepped in and played well. I was excited to see 4 true freshman offensive line, the way they went in and played. They were physical. They did things at the point of attack blocking that was really good. I thought the other 2 quarterbacks played well. I thought Connerly stepped in and showed some things that he has on the practice field in his speed and quickness. I wanted to see D'Angelo return a punt, but we told him to fair catch it because I honestly we were in position. I didn't want to score again, and thought he was dynamic enough in that position that I just told him to fair catch it. Defensively, Charles Correa keeps getting better. He's going to continue to earn reps. Jed Elad, was good to see him play extended minutes because of the disqualification from week 1. That'd be a good group to start with.
Mountain West Freshman of the Week, Greg Burrell, kind of iron sharpening iron in the running back room. What potential do you see with him this year?
Oh, I think he can be a special player. He's got size, he's got speed, he's got good body lean when he runs with the ball. He is good in protection when we use the backs in that area. He's got good hands out of the backfield. He's a strong runner. He's just starting to figure it out. I mean, he gets better every single day. I think he can have a monster year for us. I really do.
So aside from just carrying the ball and seeing the holes and hitting it, what does a true freshman running back have to do to sort of earn his way onto the field to earn the trust of the coaching staff, on all downs? Sort of?
Yeah, I think, number one, you better take care of the ball. And that goes into knowing your assignment, playing physical, carrying out your fakes when you don't have the ball, what that looks like, being able to protect, as you mentioned, whether it's odd fan, whether it's slide protection, you got the defensive end or the blitzing linebacker, and then doing it consistently. Those are all things that Greg has shown. And again, he's a long ways from where I think he'll end up, but as a player, but it was a really good start for him the first 2 weeks.
Coach, a perfect 8 out of 8 in the red zone, 5 touchdowns last week. That was an area that you had really focused on after the win against Houston. How do you foresee that progressing in this matchup this week?
Yeah, it's going to be so important that we get down to that area and we come away with touchdowns. I mean, points are great, but you get down and how hard it is to score, reduce field, some of those things, to be able to come away with scores, that's going to be hugely important. Any way we can take them, we'll take them, but if you get down there on an explosive play from 70, we'll take that too. But if you drive the field, you get down in the red zone, we got to come away with touchdowns. That's a huge emphasis for our offense. And then defensively on the other side, make them drive the field. And if they get down there, then somehow, some way, we got to get the kicker on the field and see if they can make a field goal. So that's huge to our success on both sides.
Coach, last season, obviously a neutral site game for the bowl game matchup. This season you're traveling to Kansas City. What kind of role does that change take place in your guys' preparation, if any at all?
Yeah, that won't, and I can't lean too much on last year's game. You learn from those experiences. But we've got 50 plus new players in the program that, they saw our bowl game, but they weren't part of it. So any of those things on, it's a payback game. It's a huge important game to us, whether we played them last year or not. We know that we've got to prepare the right way. We're playing a really good team out of the Big 12 Conference on a national stage. I think it'll be a great environment in the stadium we're having a chance to play in. My guess is it'll be sold out. So what a great experience for our players. Week 3 of the season, and what will be 2 really good teams going against each other.
Coach, what made you believe that Ricky White could block a punt this season? And
He does it every
how many
day.
more?
I mean, he works at it. So he's got great get off when the ball's snapped. He understands blocking scheme, where he needs to be with the play call. And he's a savvy player. He's got an understanding of it. And he almost could have, carried it off the punter's foot instead of blocking it. I do believe that will not be his only one this year. He's got a really good feel for it.
Did Marcel McDuffie have an injury situation in that game, and what's just the overall health status coming out of that?
Yeah, he did lower leg injury. He will be limited at the end of tomorrow. Would have an update on Friday's status.
With the helmet communication, you've had some issues in both games.
Yeah.
So how do you manage it moving forward? Do you still send in signals and then?
We do. We signal every play on both sides, regardless if we have communication or not. And I think that's wise for us because I don't want to just have to rely on one guy getting it across the board. So We're still intact on a number of different ways that we are communicating. Yes, coach to player signals, some signals that don't match up. The boards, you're on the board this week, so look for your face on the big board. It's good.
Be
It
scary.
maybe a touchdown.
Might be a
So,
scary play.
Yeah, but I think it's important, and I think everybody in college football. It's again, I think it's great for the game that we've enhanced the game in that communication piece. But you're always in technology. You're going to have some sort of glitch. So, the worst case scenario. Excuse me. I didn't get a lot of sleep last night. The worst case scenario is that was a joke. The worst case scenario is it goes completely down and out. Okay, and then if you're just relying on coach to player, then you're in bad spot. So our communication on both sides, really all three aspects of the game, we're still in a position that we can communicate whether we've got it or not.
You made a point on Saturday of talking about the tablets and making sure that everyone's not staring at the tablet. Because I'm walking around, there were times it was like the classroom was really quiet, which I thought was a good thing, but.
Yeah. In today's world, how easy is it you pass somebody on the street, in the hallway, everybody's looking at, let's get out of that and still have human communication face to face. It is a great point of validation on you see something on the field, you think you saw it, okay, yes, that's exactly what you saw. And then you can show the players and they understand, okay, this is where we need to fit that. Okay, this is a little bit different look on what we thought we were going to get. It's a great piece of teaching, and our guys have done a nice job with that, but let's don't get stuck into that world that's what we're focused on for 60 minutes.
Just to clarify, the worst of the headset comms was at Houston. That was when it was spotting in and out, or when did you have like the worst issues with that?
The tablets went out at Houston. I was told they were out on both sides. And then we had a couple of series this week that we just couldn't, the players couldn't hear us. So, and I've talked to, I don't know how many head coaches across the country in the first 2 weeks of the season. Everybody's got the same thing. So, there'll be advances made. We'll continue to get better in that area. I know we're not the only ones that are having the problems.
Coach, Kansas lost the turnover battle on Saturday night against Illinois. From watching that tape, what can you assess about them?
Well, I think, they made a big emphasis on it post-game on how important it was to the outcome of that game, and I believe them. They gave up a pick six, which was a huge play in that game. Usually you look at in college football when you got two evenly matched teams, a lot of times it comes down to that. If you take everything else away and you just look at the turnover margin, where you plus or minus, and then it lines up with win or loss. So that'll be a huge emphasis, I'm sure, for them, and it certainly is for us.
Another true.
Last week,
Go ahead.
Coach, last week you mentioned that, this team deserves to be a top 25 team. You did get 2 more votes in the AP Bowl. Kind of what's your message this week to the voters?
Keep winning and we'll end up there. And, we control everything that we're going to earn. And I do think we're a top 25 team, and if we'll continue to win and play winning football, then we'll get where we need to be. If you haven't submitted your vote, which they're already over, turn them in now.
Another true freshman finding his way onto the depth chart. Kellen Moore added as a third nickelback on the 2 deep. What kind of prompted that decision based on his play?
Yeah, he was in position leading into game one, and I think as in the third week of the season, he keeps getting better. He keeps getting better through his practice reps. He's got the versatility. He can play a number of spots. So I think eventually he's going to make his way onto the field.
Coach, just kind of some thoughts on that Northern Illinois game. When you think of a game like that, such an upset, how does something like that happen in your mind?
Probably, and I didn't watch one snap of that game, so I don't know how it played out. But I believe this. I think Group of 5, Power 4, whatever it is, those titles should be removed. It's us versus them. It's UNLV versus Kansas. It's UNLV versus Houston. They got the same amount of minutes every day that we do. and how are we going to prepare? How are we going to recruit? How are our practice habits? And then ultimately, can you line up and go play winning football? And at the end of the day, you look at, if you're comparing leagues, Boise had a really good chance to beat Oregon. So I think that narrative really, in my mind, I don't pay for us. It has no bearing on who we're playing, where we're playing, or when we're playing. How well can we prepare? Are we ready to go play our best ball? And if you do that, you should be in every game, no matter who the opponent is.
All right, thanks, everybody.
All right, guys. Have a great week.
Thank you.
Short week. Thanks.
Jackson, Coach was just saying how changing the culture of a program is a daily endeavor. You've got 50 or so new players on this team. How have you, Ricky, and Cameron, all the guys who work here, helped those guys assimilate into the winning culture Coach is trying to build here?
Yeah. All the returning guys, we know the standard. We know what it takes to build a winning culture. And it starts with your daily habits, with your preparation, what you do day in and day out. And so with all those new guys coming in, they did a really good job of buying into what Coach is telling them, buying into Coach's standard. And then when you got a bunch of leaders on a team, it's easy to follow, the leaders and do what they're doing, follow their habits, and that's what we got.
Ricky, you get an opportunity to go up against two corners there, perhaps. Mello Dotson, Kobe Bryant, you won the battle the last game, the bowl game, against Bryant. Are you looking forward to those challenges out of their two cornerbacks? How good are they?
I would definitely say they're real good. Great speed, great fundamentals, staying patient at the line of scrimmage. So I'm definitely ready to compete, to go out there, have fun, and I'm going to give them my all for sure.
How many more punt blocks do you have in you?
Got about 2-3 more.
Were you happy when you blocked the punt?
I definitely was. I've been close to do it all year. So, it was definitely a great accomplishment. And I couldn't do it without the help of my teammates, getting that penetration from the shield. And I just did what I was coached to do.
The reason I mention it is all 3 touchdowns on the block punt. You just kind of walked off the field.
Man, it was just preparation, really. That's what all it comes down to. I had a great week, not only me but my teammates on both sides of the ball and special teams. So, I feel like we all just did what we was coached to do, and that's why, we came out victorious this weekend.
Jackson, what do you think when you see him? He's just like, yeah, that's my job.
Yeah, I mean, that's what Ricky does. Day in and day out, he comes in. I think he's one of the hardest workers in this building. Like you said, he was coached to do it. He's very attentive in film and meetings, out there at practice. He's one of the hardest people practicing each day. So it's just another day for him.
Cameron, the busted coverage early was something that Coach Odom said was adjusted right away, and you could really see the difference throughout the rest of the game. What was the specific adjustment, and what are you guys kind of looking at that towards going into this game against Kansas?
It was just, just everybody doing their job, everybody just being in the right position. It was beginning of the game, early drive jitters, just getting those out and just really just making sure everybody doing their job, and we're on top of that this week.
Cam, you had 2 interceptions against Kansas in the bowl game. Has this game been circled on your calendar? That could be for all 3 of you. But talk about your performance against Kansas. And is that something that you envision to happen? Because I know you're one of those guys that likes to envision that you're going to have a big play. Do you have any more in store?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Just with a great week of preparation coming up, great game plan, just going out there, trusting my ability and, not going out there doing too much, just making sure I'm doing my 111th and the plays will come.
Jackson, Barry Odom was proud to see the defense really hold Utah Tech to just 1 third down on Saturday. What are you proud of defensively?
Yeah, I'm proud of a lot. I mean, the biggest thing I think that I take away from that game was all the guys that got to play in that game, and that the standard, you didn't see a big drop-off. The standard was still the same, that we don't let our opponent in the end zone. So that was what I was most proud of. Every guy that got in the game knew their job, and did it at a high level. And then obviously the third downs was huge. That's something that we really emphasize. It's a big part of our motto as a defense is to get after them on third downs and don't let them convert. And so that was big for us.
Watching KU's game against Illinois on Saturday, what can you take away from the Jayhawks?
Yeah, they're a really good team, really well coached, got a lot of athletes too. It's going to be a big time ball game. We're going to have to be perfect to come out victorious, and we're going to do everything we can to win.
Jackson, a new offensive coordinator from the last time you played them, Jeff Grimes, a lot of misdirection. What else did you notice about perhaps a change in their offense and the structure?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, there's a lot of misdirection. They're really well coached. They know exactly what they're doing. They know how to do it really well. So it's going to take, like I said, all of us doing our job, all of us being perfect on every play, one rep at a time. But, I mean, they got a really good offense.
Jackson, with Marcel McDuffie going down in that one, you had a couple of different guys complimenting you in that linebacker spot. What'd you make of Manny Powell, one of the guys that came with you from Arkansas?
Yeah, Manny's a really good ball player. He's really physical, downhill, and he works really hard. He takes preparation seriously. We didn't miss a beat when he came in, and that's what I was saying all summer, all fall camp. This is a team that no matter who goes down, the next guy's ready to stand up. It's next guy up, and Manny did that really well this weekend.
And Charles Correa and Blessing Alualu Tuilamotu, two guys that seemingly you've taken under your wing. How about their performances as well? You seem really jacked up on the sideline for them.
Yeah. Charles is a stud. He came in freshman year and is playing a lot. I'm proud of him, but it comes down to his habits. He does it every week. And then Blessing's playing really well too. He's bought in. He took a big step from last year to this year. I'm confident in whoever goes in the game, whoever's next to me, I'm really confident in. But Charles and Blessing have been playing really well.
Jackson, Ricky, and Cameron, let me just ask you, I'm playing on Friday night for you guys. What's the pros and cons for UNLV in your minds?
Yeah, I mean, pros and cons. Obviously, the schedule's a little different, but it's just another game for us. We see it as another game, not as much as what time or where it's being played. It's another game. We're going to be ready for it. It gives us opportunity to prepare really well. It's a short week, obviously, but we'll be ready.
I would definitely say a pro is just being able to, showcase our talents in front of the whole world. Friday nights, not a lot of people is playing, so they get to sit there and watch us play. So that's definitely a pro for us.
Another pro I feel like is our coach staff put together a great schedule for us. Guys are getting their body back. Short week. We adjusting the schedule, making sure guys are ready to go and ready to put our best foot forward.
Cameron, Kansas hit some big plays in that bowl game, down the field. How important is, limiting those deep shots, and how do you guys sort of contain that, this time around?
It's very important. One of our key mottos on our defense is to eliminate the explosive play, and what we've been seeing over these 2 weeks is whenever we eliminate the explosive plays, we're really hard to beat as a defense, And, what goes in that is just everybody doing their job, doing their 111, making sure that they're not going out there and doing something extra, just doing their job and playing within the scheme because we trust our coaches to put us in the right position to make plays.
Ricky, a huge first half for you and Matt Sluka on Saturday. What do you enjoy about working with Matt? How has he made you better this season?
Man, he's a great player. He takes the game the right way. Just getting his confidence right, being on the same page with him each and every day. It just allows us to go out there and play fast, and him to make plays not only with me but the whole offense. And Coach Marion does a great job of just putting him in the right position, and calling the right plays, and scheming the right plays against the right defense. So I feel like we'll be perfectly fine each and every week.
The success Xavier Worthy had in his first NFL game, does that excite you?
It definitely does. It definitely does. So I talked to Xavier through Coach Marion a couple times. He's rooting for me and I'm rooting for him. So it's good for him to go out there and showcase the world what he's capable of doing.
Ricky, is there anybody else around the NFL that you keep in contact with, some of your inspirations that you talk to week to week?
Probably not week to week, but I keep up with some of the guys that I know of, like Jay Reed. And I just seen Jalen Naylor. He's from here. I went to Michigan State with him, but he just scored a touchdown. But it's a couple more guys that that I like watching them play, that I played with in the past. And congratulations to those guys, man.
Good week for those two.
Most definitely.
Ricky, you had on the offensive side, Greg Burrell, Mountain West Freshman of the Week. He went over 100 yards. What does it say about a true freshman in week 2 coming in and producing like that in this offense?
Just like what Wood said, I mean, he's definitely bonded to the culture. He got one of the best running back coaches, you know, they could be coached by, was a Coach Ford. Coach Ford does a great job of just preparing, you know, running backs. He's never weak. So I feel like if he continue to, you know, just better his game, go over the details and the small things, he could be, you know, one of the best backs in the nation.
Jackson, you've seen Burrell. How physical is he as a runner?
Yeah, he's really physical. He doesn't act like a freshman and doesn't run like a freshman. You know, he's really mature physically and mentally. Proud of what he's done, and he's going to do a lot more this season.
He showcased a really patient rushing style. How much harder is it on the defensive side than a guy that just kind of hits the hole like that for you?
Yeah, it's a lot harder. Like I said, he's mature, mentally mature. Like you watch how he takes his reads in practice, and it's the same way that he does it in the game. He doesn't let the game affect him. But yeah, it's much harder, and that's why he's, you know, so good and so effective.
Hey, Ricky, one more question. When you saw over the weekend that Northern Illinois beat Notre Dame in South Bend, what are your thoughts on something like that? How college football's changed like that, where a school that I think is coming off a 6-7 win season can go into South Bend and beat Notre Dame?
It's definitely crazy. You know, I feel like, you know, if any team prepare the right way, anybody is able to get beat. And that's just how, you know, sports is, not just college football, any sport. So, you know, just taking the game, you know, the right way, going into it with confidence and a great mindset, you know, you're able to beat anybody that you're facing. So, definitely crazy, though.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate you guys.
Thank y'all.
Jalen and Jack over 500 yards rushing. How important is that for a team to have that kind of a record and for you guys as a unit?
Yeah, I mean, it was a goal all week. First off, we had a points goal that we wanted to reach at least 70 points. Reach that. Coach Marion harped on 500 yards all week, and we got that. So it was important. It was a good milestone, but there's still a lot to improve on with it.
Yeah, go off what he said. You know, we set that out all week, so to be able to accomplish that was a big goal. But you know, we want more, and we not stopping.
Jalen Catalon, talk about your explosiveness. That one play, I think there was a video on social media too. You came from the right side of the field to the left. What did you see? And you had a tackle for loss. Was that just something you read? Was that instinctive?
I think for me it was just reading my keys and understanding that based off what the guy was doing, it was going to relate and it was going to put me to where I needed to be to make the play. And everything kind of just worked poetry in motion. My guy went over and the ball was thrown, and I followed him down and I made the play. And, you know, I think that was just an example of everybody doing their jobs. And, you know, the outcome was a tackle for a loss, you know. So it was a good play, and, you know, I do remember it.
Jack, when you talk about the coach setting those goals of, you know, 70 points, 500 yards, is that something that happens, you know, on a weekly basis? Do you guys have certain benchmarks that you're trying to hit depending on the opponent, the situation? Like, is that normal for coaches to set, you know, little goals for you heading into games?
I mean, yeah, there's always a certain standard they live by, I mean, no matter who we play. But, yeah, I think, especially from an offensive standpoint, we always have, you know, no matter the opponent, at least 200 yards is kind of the minimum as far as rushing goes. And then, obviously, week by week, game plans change and whatnot, so it kind of depends what we plan on doing. But at the end of the day, we know what we have to do, and, you know, each week we have a certain standard that we have to meet.
When it comes in for that week at 500 yards rushing, are you like, well, that sounds like it might be a little bit out there? How do you handle when the coaches like set those goals so far up for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, it's lofty for sure, but we knew it was realistic as far as what we can do. And yeah, I mean, it sounds like a lot because it is, but at the same time, we know what we're capable of.
Jalen, Coach Odom earlier said that one of his favorite parts of the win was that, you know, 90-plus players got in, 4 true freshmen on the offensive line got in. For you and Jack on the sidelines, what was it like watching those guys that you go with in practice every day finally get out there and have some success?
Oh, man, it was great, man. Those guys, they strain, they work hard every single day for 365 days. We out here every day. So just to see them go out there and have fun and do what they do in the short period amount of time that they had, it was fun. You know, we was on the sideline having fun.
Jalen Catalon, last meeting against Kansas, you didn't play for UNLV, but I'm sure you watched a lot of film. Two of the receivers, Grimm and Arnold, they combined for 292 yards. How do you limit the explosive plays this year?
For us, I think you just have to go by the game plan that we're going to have set out for them and, you know, just execute it. You know, they're great receivers. You know, they have a great receiving core. You know, they have some good running backs. You know, they have an experienced quarterback. You know, I mean, they're experienced all the way around. They're a great team, and, you know, they're ranked for a reason, you know. So I know they had lost last week, but I know they're going to come in ready to go. So we just have to execute our game plan and just do it better than they do.
And with all that misdirection that you probably saw on film as well, you have to protect the backside, correct?
For sure, definitely have to. You know, I know Coach Club planned for that as well. You know, they do a lot of motioning, formation changes, and shifts. So you just have to be alert and ready to be, you know, ready for the next call or ready for the next check if you have to, you know, depending on what they do. But we'll have something ready for it.
Jalen Catalon, a lot of those balls in the Kansas game from last year, you weren't here, but, you know, 50-50 balls, jump balls down the field. When it comes to those type of plays, as a defensive back, what's the general strategy when it's you and a guy and the ball's coming down? How do you play that? How do you position yourself? What is going through your mind to stop a 50-50 ball?
You know, in practice, you can do a lot of ball drills and certain things, you know, with one-on-one things. But when it comes down to it, it's about heart. You know, it just comes down to who wants the ball more. You know, same thing with a block. You know, you can do all the technique you want, but at the end of the day, who wants it more? You know, who wants that? Who wants their job to be done better than the other more, you know? And I think that's what it relates to when it comes to a ball in the air with a receiver and DB, you know? A receiver probably has the same mindset too, you know? They want to get the ball as much as we do, so it's all about who wants it more.
Jalen, we're seeing the defensive line just play much more physical, more fast this year. How are they sharpening you this season?
Oh, man, the additions, you know, Doyle, Witt, JD, C-Mac, Osei, you know, all of them, we all working every day. We worry about us because we know that it ain't too many of us that's really just working like we are and, you know, day by day, rep by rep, we getting it in every play.
Jalen Catalon, after the game, Coach said that soon you'll be coaching with him. Just wondering if that's something you want to do in the future after you get done playing, and that's conversations you guys have.
For sure. I mean, down the road, I mean, maybe one day, you know, I might want to, you know, wake up out the bed and say, hey, I want to coach. But every time I wake out the bed right now, all I think about is, you know, how can I be the best player for this team and how can I make the best impact, you know, for my defense and to help the team be the best they can be, you know. And I'm sure that's everybody's mindset as well. But, yeah, I mean, that's something down the road, but I'm just more focused on what's ahead right now.
Jack and Jalen St. John, how important is it in this game to control the line of scrimmage so that you keep the ball away from their offense?
It's extremely important. You know, I think no matter who the opponent is, you always want your offense to have the ball more. Time of possession is very important. Yeah, I think with our offense especially, you know, just dominating in the run, getting a run game going, will build off and create a lot more opportunities for us, and we're very confident that we can do that.
Yeah, to say, piggy off what he said, get it going early, stay above the sticks, keep the first downs rolling in, get the first down, and just ball, just go have fun, bro. Like, it's another game, you know, keep the momentum and just the line of scrimmage, that's our job. So in the trenches, that's the number one goal is to move the ball. That's what we got to do.
For Jack and Jalen, a lot of talk about the offense of Kansas, but from an offensive line perspective, looking at the defense, what are one or two of the hallmarks of this Kansas defense you guys have been looking at on film?
Yeah, and obviously playing in the bowl game last year, they have a lot of returning starters, returning pieces to the defense. So, I mean, we're still fairly familiar with them. I would say their secondary is probably their kind of strong suit. You know, both corners, safeties. That's not to discredit their D-line, the backers or anything, but I think that's probably where they're the strongest. And kind of going back to the original question, that's kind of, as an offensive line, we need to step that up and make their lives harder by establishing the run.
Yeah, same thing he said. I feel like D-line wise, they same guys, you know. So we just gotta go in there and play ball. Really, not really worried about the D-line or the scheme they have. But we more so focused on ourselves right now. And whatever we do, we just got to make sure we do it at 100%.
For Jack and Jalen, can you kind of describe the balance between, like, for example, you keep getting asked about last year, the bowl game, so like being aware of that, but also staying focused on the now, like, what's that balance like for both of your mindsets?
Yeah, I would just say, I mean, with this game especially being out of conference, really we're really fortunate that we got the opportunity to play them last year just to kind of get familiar with them. So that's kind of the big thing as far as revisiting that game. But at the same time, we realize that it's a completely new year for us and for them, different moving pieces on both teams. So yeah, I mean, our main focus is obviously, just week by week, but at the same time, there's also some to gain by looking back and seeing what they possibly might do.
Yeah, I would say that last year is last year and this year is this year. They could have got better over the offseason. We got better over the offseason, so at this point, it's just time to go play.
For both Jalen and Jack, let me just ask each of you, the Friday night game, what's the advantage of that, and maybe the pros and cons of playing on a Friday night for UNLV?
Friday night, it brings back a lot of high school memories, high school vibes. It's going to be a great atmosphere. Almost an hour away from home, so I know I'm fired up. So, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, mine's very similar too. I'm about 3 hours away from my home, so obviously a lot of family there and whatnot. Friday, I mean, the reality of it is a day quicker turnaround from Saturday to a Friday game. That being said, I mean, we're doing everything in our power to prepare for that, and we've been doing a great job with that. So that's the main con, I guess, is you get one less day to prepare, but at the same time, if you do it right, it'll be all good.
And for me, I say, the pros and cons are there, but they are controllable. I think if we prepare the same way we have before, like we're playing on Saturday, but we're playing on, Friday, of course, I don't think there's anything different. We're treating it just like it's another 6-day preparation, even though it's shortened by one. And, just that makes us just hone down details even more and make sure we're focused on everything that could become a distraction and cancel that out. So I think when it comes down to, I think we're ready for whenever we have to play.
Did you ever look at things like marketing? Hey, we're the only show in town on a Friday night, it's UNLV, and publicity for the school or anything like that?
Nah, I think that's more for the people outside and the people outside the white lines to really, think about. But for us, we're more worried about how can we put our best foot forward going into Friday and, come out with the win.
Good. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.